Hey YouTube. So I want to make this video today, well, because I had a couple ideas, and also shout out people gassing me in the comments. Makes me want to keep going. So because my brain is like always on full, and like I learned one little random piece of information, and then like 6 years later I learned something else that helps it. So and then if I don't explain it to anybody, I can't connect it. The more I talk to people, the more it like makes sense in my brain. So it's like I have to put this shit out here. But today I'm gonna name this video the Ben Franklin effect. And that is because in 2013 I went to our local BMW dealer as a temp agent, right? And so I was gonna be like assistant to the finance manager, and I didn't know shit. I had another professional sales job, but like as far as how credit worked, I had no idea. My dad used to say compound interest is either fucking you or making you rich, one of the two. You better know what's going on. So that's when I really learned about the credit system and how all that shit worked. Wildly beneficial to understanding society. But I digress. So I go there and I'm working there, and there was this girl that actually was going to take my job, but she turned it down. She came from a well-to-do family. She was like pursuing her master's at the time in fucking like statistics or some shit. She was their phone person, coordinator, running all this shit, right? At the front desk. And she was like a few years younger than me. And here I come. Not everybody feels me, okay? I get it. I'm not everybody's vibe because I don't do none of this fake shit. I ain't got time. You want me? Hi, how are you doing today? I'm well. Thank you for asking. That's fabulous, sir. I love those. I can do that shit all day long, but who's got time for that? I don't. So anyways, she ain't really like me. Like to the point where if I was sending a letter to the client, this bitch would take out a red pen and correct my spelling errors. Like, bitch, I know you did not. Nobody asked you to motherfucking do that. They hired me. But anyway, so me and her would kind of have like, I got Mars and Leo in the 12th. I'm a Virgo rising. Like, what you don't want to do is come at me, because I'm going to come and tear that ass down. So I was really, I don't know what happened to where I started looking up shit online. I don't know if I was specifically trying to address her, but I also remember the other ladies in accounting didn't like me either at first. They ended up being my very best friends. But at first, they didn't like me because I'm like, well, do you think the state will take it if I do it like this? I'm one of those people, like, you know what I mean? Mercury and Gemini, like, let's try and make it happen. And they ain't like that. They're like, we follow rules, man. So I'm like, okay. Finally, Ben Franklin effect 3 minutes later. The girl, so I'm like, I look it up, and it's basically the Ben Franklin effect. When I looked it up, and this guy wrote about it in his autobiography, is how like Ben Franklin basically found out how to convince people to like him. And like the gist of it that I read, I could be wrong. Like, I don't know, I'm not gonna sit here and fucking cite shit all day and look up shit. But basically the story goes is that like Ben Franklin, when he was starting his political career, there was one guy that was always out there protesting against him. He's probably like, fuck you Masons. But anyways, and Ben Franklin was well known at the time for his library stuff that he had already started. So rather than like try to argue with the dude, he just wrote him a letter and asked him to borrow a book. Well, the guy was very like impressed or whatever, and he ended up sending Ben Franklin the book, like, you know, hey, the library guy wants my book, cool, you know. So anyways, he ended up becoming one of Ben Franklin's largest political supporters. And this effect is based on the idea that we do things for people we like, but we also like people that we do things for. So I had just made that video about using your left brain and your right brain in unison. And I just really think about that all the time. Like, okay, so you can, based on your physical acts, train your brain to think you like somebody. And then that just goes back to that TED Talk they had, I don't know how many years ago, about power poses. Anybody seen the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt where she's doing them? I love that shit. But anyways, so these people, if you ever get a chance, you can Google it. Is like basically just saying like standing in a power pose will affect your the feeling and the vibration you give off, and like, you know, you'll get the job if you're standing in like a winning position, so on and so forth. And I do think that is a big part of it. And so it goes both ways, right? So as above, so below, whole thought process, or as within, so without, thought process. So it's like we can train our brain both ways, right? And then the other thing that this kind of my brother's wife was over here the other day just talking to me about some show she's watching on Netflix about them taking consciousness from one body to another. And Dolo, shout out, like, I could never give that man enough flowers. Like, I could learn 1,000 things, but nobody connected it until I started following Dolo's page. If you're not subscribed to Flight Boss, make sure you fucking do that. But he was going on the other day about a disembodied brain, and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't even get, like, the fucking point that he's making. But anyways, my brother's wife was over here like, no, you would put that consciousness into that other body or what. No. You don't get to fucking do that. Just like this earth is made up of all of us and we're all part of the earth, there's 75 trillion cells in my body that make me. It's not just my brain, and this is a fucking empty vessel. I made this fucking vessel. That. And so it, like, finally clicked in my brain, like, the fucking point he was trying to make. Like, these two go together. These two go together. And I think it's really, like, interesting as well. Like, we talk about the pineal gland all the time, but we don't ever talk about the frontal lobe. Like, so when you start getting into, like, shit, you learn that the frontal lobe is what decides what goes from the left brain to the right brain, is determined by the frontal lobe. So, what the hell, right? And then there's also the other, I'm going to save that for another video because I could really go in there. And I was just at the audiologist today. I was taking pictures of their chart. Hearing, balance, like, oh my God. I got so many thoughts and ideas. I'm going to keep these videos coming. But right now, that's all I just want to. Ben Franklin effect. If someone doesn't like you, ask them to do something for them. The cognitive dissonance in their brain will cause them to think they do like you. Because otherwise, why would they be doing things for you? Power poses, good thought. Your body is just as much a part of you as your brain. So don't dissociate with your fucking body, okay? All right. And comments. I love the discussion. I literally don't want to do anything else but watch fucking YouTube about metaphysics and talk about this shit all day long. Like, I can't be around family without going in on astrology. And everybody just tunes me out. So, love you, YouTube.